Okay, let's now see how to connect the scanner to the computer. We said we have 3 cables. First one here on the right is the power supply. Of course, the other side of the cable has to be connected to the network, to the electricity. And then we have the 2 signal cables, the HDMI and the USB 3. Here is the rear panel of the scanner. So flip the scanner in order to see its rear panel, the one where you also have the 2 cables of the 2 cameras. Here we are in the bottom left corner of this panel, and you can see 3 different ports, 3 different connectors. This one is the HDMI, this one is the USB 3, and this one is the power supply connector. Okay, they are 3 completely different connectors, so we cannot make mistakes when we connect the cables. So our HDMI connector will be connected here, has to be connected here. Makes no difference which side of the cable you connect here, because the 2 connectors are completely exactly the same. Okay, here we have to connect our USB 3 connector. You have only one side that you can connect here, because this cable has 2 different connectors on the 2 sides. But again, easy to be connected, very easy to be connected. And the same is here. You have only one way to connect the power cord, the power supply, to the scanner. This connector has a flat surface below. Okay, this flat surface has to go aligned here. Okay, suggestion is, before pushing the cables, the connectors inside, just find the correct orientation, push a little bit, and then push again to be sure that the connectors are completely in. Okay, for the 3 of them, you have to, at the end, to be sure that they are completely in. This is for both sides, scanner and also the computer side, talking about the HDMI and the USB 3. In this way, the scanner is connected. You can also turn it on using the frontal button. Okay, in the frontal panel, to the frontal panel on the right bottom corner, you have a circular button. If you hit it for at least half a second, a green light appears. You also, in a few seconds, can see the light coming from the projector. Okay. If this happens, means that the scanner is correctly connected to the power supply, and we have now to connect the scanner to the computer. Okay, so we have to connect our HDMI and our USB cable to the computer. Talking about the USB cable, we always need a USB 3 port. Okay, on the computer, this cable has to go on a USB 3 port. Okay, normally, the USB 3 port is marked with an SS, super speed, which means super speed on the computer, on the PC, on the panel of the PC, or it is blue. Sometimes it happens, even if you see the blue color, or if you read SS close to the port, that it is not a USB 3 port. It can depend on the firmware installed into the BIOS of the computer. It can depend on if it is an assembly computer, on how they have built it. Anyway, there is this freeware software called USB 3 View. You can download it from internet, and it is very good to see when the scanner is, when the software is installed, so also the camera drivers are installed, if we are using the correct USB 3 port or not. I will show you later. Anyway, this is a good solution for checking the USB ports. Okay, in case of need. Talking about the and of course, we always need the USB 3, not depending if you use a desktop computer or if you use a laptop computer. And the connection has to be directly to the computer or to the port, not through a USB hub. Sometimes it happens that you don't have enough ports on the computer. If you need to use the hub, please make sure that it is an active hub. An active hub means an hub with the power supply, okay? But better, much better, if you connect the USB cable directly to the computer port. And of course, as I said, same I said for the rear panel of the scanner, make sure the connector is completely in. Let's now talk about the HDMI connection. Okay, we always require an NVIDIA video board installed on the computer. Okay, this HDMI cable has to be connected to the NVIDIA video board. Okay, and also the other screens. If of course you have other screens for running your PC, have to be connected to the same NVIDIA board. We have two situations. One is when you use the laptop, okay, the screen is already connected, of course. You have to connect the HDMI coming from the scanner, and maybe you have other screens connected. You want to connect other screens to the same laptop to work in a better way, okay? You always have a video output on your computer. 99 times on 100, you have an HDMI port. This port is the one where you have to connect directly without adapters the HDMI coming from the scanner. If you have to connect other screens to the laptop, of course, being a laptop, you don't have other video outputs. So the best way is to use USB to HDMI adapters. Okay, you can adapt the HDMI signal to the USB one. Okay, they are standard adapters. You can find them on Amazon. Just search for an adapter from the USB port to the HDMI port, okay? And use them not on the scanner, but on the additional screens you want to connect to the laptop. But of course, you have to make sure that the laptop has installed as a secondary board an NVIDIA video board. Second situation is when you use a desktop computer. Being a desktop computer with more space, the video board has always 3 or 4 outputs. So you don't need to use adapters from USB to HDMI. But being a desktop, you have for sure 2 video boards installed. The one we require, which is the NVIDIA, the secondary video board, and the one always integrated inside the motherboard, okay? We don't have to use this one. We don't have to connect nothing to the video board integrated into the motherboard. We have to connect all our screens, scanner, HDMI coming from the scanner included, to the same NVIDIA board. And again, for sure you will need adapters, because usually the video board has only one HDMI port, and if you need to connect other screens, please use the HDMI port to connect directly the HDMI coming from the scanner, and then use adapters depending on the ports you have on the NVIDIA video board to connect the rest of the screens, okay? Sometimes it also happens that the video board doesn't have an HDMI output. So you need, in this case, you need, of course, to use an adapter also for connecting the HDMI cable coming from the scanner, okay? Usually the adapters work well, okay? Sometimes we had issues with adapters, for example, the adapter from DisplayPort to HDMI, from mini DisplayPort to HDMI, used on the scanner. they don't give the correct connection, and you can see it because when you configure the software, you don't see the projector available. Okay, don't ask me why. The reason is HDMI is an electrical standard. DisplayPort is another one. They talk about standard. When we say standard, we mean we would mean that all HDMI cables are working in the same way. All HDMI converters are working in the same way because the HDMI signal is always the same. Okay, this is not true. Okay. Sometimes we found adapters not able to adapt in a correct way the signal, the HDMI signal coming from the projector. So we needed to change them with other adapters. Same adapter coming from another supplier, it works. Okay. It can happen, not every day. I think we saw this situation 5 times in 15 years. Okay. Anyway, when we connect the HDMI cable and the scanner is on, if I turn on the NVIDIA control panel, okay, I have to see all my screens under that panel. Okay. Not depending if I'm on a laptop or if I'm on a desktop. Here I'm on a laptop and I have a secondary monitor plus the scanner plus its projector. So if I go here under the resolution page, I see my laptop. Okay, I see my secondary screen. Okay, this is not the projector, this is the secondary screen, and I see my projector. Okay, everything is listed here. Okay, the same is if I open the screen managers available under Windows. Okay, here is my main screen, here is my additional screen, and here, if I see, let me check. No, not here. Anyway, this one is my projector. Okay, this is not enough what we see here. Why? When we are on a desktop computer, I said we have for sure also the video board integrated into the motherboard. Here, Windows is listing all, is showing all the screens, included the screens that we have connected, we can have connected to the integrated motherboard. Okay, sometimes it happens you don't have the adapter for connecting the HDMI of one screen or of the scanner. The video board integrated into the motherboard as always an HDMI output, so you use it to connect in order to connect one HDMI cable. Here under the Windows Manager, you will see the screen, but the system will not work because we said we have to connect all the screens, including the HDMI coming from the scanner, to the same NVIDIA board. So in this situation, if I connect something to the video board integrated on my motherboard, I don't see this screen, that screen listed here. Okay, this is a problem. We don't have to use the video board integrated into the motherboard, but this is only for when you use a desktop computer. Always connect everything to the same NVIDIA board. In case you don't have the adapter because the board doesn't have all the HDMI ports required, don't use the HDMI of the integrated video board on the motherboard, just buy the required adapter. In order to see all your screens listed here under the NVIDIA control panel. Okay, so in this way we have connected the scanner to the PC. We can set the projector parameters since the beginning. The projector is for us a passive device, so it doesn't require drivers. Okay, we don't need to install nothing in order to configure the projector. Here is my projector. Okay, if I click on identify, I see the number 2 is this screen, the number 1 is my laptop screen, the number 3 is the projector. Okay, see at what happens. The projector is not my main monitor. It has to be a secondary screen. Always it has to be a secondary screen. Always it has to be an extension of my primary monitor. So I don't have to double the primary monitor. I only have to extend it on my projector. And the resolution of the projector is the one suggested. If I open here, okay, it shows me all the resolution supported. The one suggested, anyway, 1280 by 800 pixels is the one that I have to set for my projector. Okay. When you connect first time, it can be that Windows doesn't do this configuration alone. Okay, you do it selecting the monitor as an extension, not a primary monitor. So it has to be the secondary monitor, a secondary monitor. Okay, and this is the resolution. Okay, then when it's done first time, it's done forever. Until when I don't change the computer, I don't have to do that another time. Of course, if I don't go here and I change manually the resolution or I do stuff like that. In this way, the projector is well connected and also configured. Okay, now to see if everything is working, I have to install the software. Okay, when I connect the scanner, if I go under the Windows Explorer, I can see listed this memory. Okay, it appears with the serial number of the scanner. This memory is inside the scanner. It's a standard flash USB memory. Okay, please don't format it. Don't cancel it. Don't use it as a normal flash memory. It's inside the scanner anyway, so you cannot unplug it. You cannot remove it. Okay, it also includes the software license. So for this reason, I say don't cancel it, don't format it, because if you format it, you also destroy the license. On this, it is easy to be recognized because it appears with the serial number of the scanner. Okay, inside this memory, you always find also the software installers. Okay, so EasyLab Jewelry comes with two different software, a basic software for, let's say, more beginners users, and an advanced software for more professional users. Okay, we can install both of them. We can install the first one, we can install the second one. We don't have to stay on a certain way to go. Here we can do what we want. Let's first install the basic one. Double click on the icon. Okay, it asks for the installer language. Then we say okay, and we go. Okay, we can also clean the installation. We install all the drivers, the runtime drivers, and then we go next. We select also to create a desktop shortcut, okay, an icon on our desktop about the software, okay, and we install. It is more or less always a kind of installation where you go next until the end. Sometimes it happens that it doesn't find some runtime drivers required for Windows, so the installer downloads them automatically. Of course, doing that, it requires in the middle of the installation to restart the computer. If it happens, just restart the computer. Then when you come back restart the installation from zero. So from when I double clicked on the software and install it again. Okay, the serial drivers, everything. Okay, so we don't launch the software. We just check that here we have our icon created. Okay, and of course, if I enter where the software is installed, I have all my components installed. Okay, done. We can also install the second software, always on the same key. I have the second installer. So again, double click on it. More or less, we do the same. So we always select the language and we go next. First time when you install, you can clean the installation or not. Makes no big differences. We create always the shortcut. Okay, and we go next. The second installation can also be easier. Here we are reinstalling the drivers, but at the beginning, I have already installed the drivers with the first installation. So at the beginning of the second installation, I can also uncheck the camera drivers, for example, because they are already installed. But anyway, the time required is, okay, here we are installing again the drivers that we have installed a few minutes ago, but takes a few seconds. So if you want, you can avoid that, clicking at the beginning. If you don't want, it takes a few seconds. Okay, again, we don't launch the software. Here we have the second installer, okay? And of course, here we have everything installed. Okay, so we said that the projector is a passive device. We don't need any software. We don't need any hardware. We don't need any drivers to configure it. We have installed the camera drivers. We now check if we are running the software using the correct USB port. I told you at the beginning, we use a USB 3 connection, but sometimes it happened in our experience that the port was blue on the computer side, that the SS super speed was also engraved close to the port on the panel, but the port was not a USB 3. So I said the best way to check it is to start this USB 3 view and search for the cameras, okay? Our cameras are coming from Basler, so you need to see the two cameras listed, okay, with exactly the name you read here. Sometimes when the drivers are not installed in a good way, or when you have problems on the USB connection, you don't see exactly this name. You see the camera listed with a yellow flag, or you see the camera listed without the yellow flag, but with not this name, with listed only as a generic USB device, okay? In this situation, call us, we connect, and we search for the problem. Of course, very, very important point. Let's make one step back. Let's talk about the computer, okay? The computer has to be according to the features that we require. So at least i7, okay? At least 32 gigabytes of RAM, okay? The NVIDIA board has to be present, okay? We support Windows 10 or Windows 11, okay? And it has to be, let's say, a recent computer, not more than 6-7 years old, okay? And one other important point, make sure before installing the software that Windows is updated, okay? Okay, you go under the Windows update, you check for the updates. In case Windows is not updated with important components, please update it. If you don't update since a long time ago, it will take time, and also you will have to restart many times your computer, but run this updates search until when it says you are updated. Okay. Another important point, we have to be sure that we are running the NVIDIA board with the correct drivers. Okay. Not always Windows is during the update is finding the correct drivers. The best way when we talk about the NVIDIA video boards is to open Internet Explorer, Chrome, Edge, what you have, a browser, connect to the NVIDIA website, nvidia.com, okay, enter the driver page, specify which NVIDIA board you have installed on your computer. It's easy to do because it's enough to go on the computer and select manage devices or device manager, okay? And when you go, here is in Italian, but when you go under the devices manager, here you have all your hardware listed, and you also have the video board, and here you can read what kind of video board you are using. Okay, depending on it, inside on the NVIDIA website, you can download the latest drivers and please install them and then reboot the computer. Okay, this is the starting point. Before installing our software, please make sure that the computer is running with an updated Windows. Makes no difference if it is Windows 10 or Windows 11, and with the NVIDIA board with the latest drivers installed. Okay, then coming back to the cameras, when we are in a correct situation, we need to see the cameras listed in this way. Okay, this is the correct name of the cameras. So we said if we don't see that name, means there is a USB connection problem. And here, if you go, you see that we are using the USB 3.2 port. Okay, it has to be at least 3.0. Okay, here it's the correct information. Here we don't care about the color of the ports, about if on the panel we can read SS or something else. Here it gives exactly the correct USB version we are running. Okay, so make sure that here you can read at least 3.0. Okay, if you don't read 3.0, 3.1 or 3.2, so if you read 2 point something, please try another port. Call your supplier, your PC supplier, and ask if the 3.0 USB ports are included. If it is a problem coming from the BIOS because the firmware is not correctly installed, unfortunately, in this situation, we cannot help, because if you have to update the BIOS of your computer, you cannot do it through a remote connection. You have to do directly in person, because the BIOS update comes before the computer starts the Windows system. So the connection, the remote connection is not supported at that phase. Okay, anyway, 3.2, and as I said, the screen configured as a secondary monitor extended with this resolution. Okay. In this way, the scanner is connected. Okay, if I enter my two software, for the easier one, I have a tool called Optor Toolbox, which can be used for checking if all my components are working well. But better for that, better to use the one provided with the Vertex Pro, with the professional solution, easier to be used. It is called Open Toolbox. Okay, so double click on the toolbox. It appears this very easy interface. Here you have, of course, two cameras. Okay, you can start one. Okay, we see the dark screen because we are projecting dark. Okay, in case we click on the window and then we move it on the projector, so we project white. Here you see my hands. Okay, so the camera, the first camera is running well, and you can also see that we have zero fails. Okay, you can do the same with the other camera. Okay, same situation, okay? If you don't want to use, or if for some reasons you are unable to use the white window, because white window has to be moved on the projector side, and it can be done hitting the Windows keyboard button, Shift, and then the arrows until when you see the projector projecting white, you can click here. Sorry, let me show. Let me start the camera, then I click here on the exposure, and I work on the camera exposure. Of course, the exposure is the time that I leave the camera to open, to acquire the light. So if I increase a lot, the acquisition slow down, but I can also see my live session, okay? So this is to check if the cameras are working. This is to check if the rotary stage is working. Okay, here you cannot choose nothing because you have only one controller installed. So you connect the controller, and then you go under the setup window, and you can search both, or the first one and then the second one, home position. The rotary stage has two axes. So we first search the 0 of the tilting axis. Okay, here it has to stop without errors. If I have problems, I will see at the end an error. And of course, let me come back and in a live situation with my window open. Okay, if I redo that, you see that the plate, the rotary stage is tilting. Okay, searching for the 0 position of the tilting axis. And then, okay, we can do the same for the rotary axis. The rotary axis is always in its 0 position, so it doesn't move. But in case you move manually, then it searches for the 0 position. But here, if you can see the cameras in a live session, both, and if you can connect the controller and search the home positions without problems, means that the scanner is connected in a correct way and it works. Okay, thank you.